Now we are going to start with the project diagnose summary. I hope you remember the last demo still, but let's wait up for the end of it. So first one, if we have the Jenkins build here as the status, you can see actually the first iteration we don't have a good time, kind of like build for sometimes, and then the time to build is really long. And after the first iteration, I changed the configuration file for the JS on the enzyme and test and rebuild everything. So some catch problem actually happened before. So actually clean up gets much faster. So average build is like 1 minute for since that build failed after that. It's working right now. And pretty much this part is working now. And then to the next one. So for the project, we have the second iteration, everything pretty much done. The request from the sponsorship.
So pretty much for the second iteration, we managed to get the rest of the input functions in on our application.
Car shopping? Try Car Gurus. Car Gurus.
What?
It's easy to find the cars you like and compare.
Hold on a minute.
Every car is rated from great deal to overpriced. The best deals.
Okay, back.
So we added more input functions to take more data like hemoglobin levels or the blood pressure of the patient, other things like that. We also managed to implement Redux into our application as well. And we didn't show this last presentation, but we created a burn down chart. It's the amount of work planned versus the actual work done. And the second iteration, we actually managed to do more than what was originally planned. And our sponsor told us we were right on track, so that's a good thing. And for our third iteration, we don't have many things planned. We tried hard thinking about what we need to do, but we figured we have to create our local database using Realm, and we'd have to change the simulated data to JSON format. In our last meeting, our sponsors actually gave us an Excel sheet of simulated data. And we also had to do code refactoring, which we figured would take a lot of time for our third iteration, because having good quality code is pretty important. And for code improvements.
Okay, so and we will do the extra refactoring for the third iteration and then change some design for landscape mode because there's design change for fit to the iPad because medical use the iPad more in the sponsor requirement. They say they probably want the iPad mode to fit with because portrait mode doesn't fit that much data.
They don't want whoever's using our app to fiddle with the little phone.
It's easy to use in landscape mode in iPad. And for the test coverage, Tom will show you the actually it's our test coverage now.
Okay, so currently we have 100% test coverage, which we didn't have before, with over 15 test files and 93 test functions. So there are 4 components that we didn't cover in the test because if we add them to the test will fail, which is the app.js. We have trouble to integrate app.js with the React navigation. Somehow it returns some error with the state something. We couldn't find any solution, and it's not there on Google also. There, the other 3 components we could test, which is the 3 animation components. So the problem with the component we couldn't test is make the test fail, and the problem is within the easing component inside the animated package. So we couldn't test that part, and the rest we actually 100% covered for the rest.
Okay, so this is our overview of the test coverage. I will demo for our current progress for the second iteration. Here's the demo. So you can see we have the 2. We actually have 2 functionality we'll be building, but for now the search one is still in construction. So we only have this. It's like the first iteration you see the first page. And we actually take the Venkat's suggestion to change the pen level to 0. Let me show you this. So last time it's like the Tom is the patient and got a shot. and then 140, and then the loss maybe 2. And then now we can actually slide this. So easier to input, so you don't have to type the values inside. So you will change the color and put into like it's severe or it's not severe, something like that. And the second page we add for from our sponsors' requirements, so we actually construct this. So now it's actually fully working with the logic to decide the recommendation. So I will input this first. So this one is for the pressure, the highest, like kind of like a maximum point for the pressure. So I put just 120 for like regular input data. And then this one is kind of like a low, like when you relax, the blood pressure is like around 80. And then I will put the blood saturation 80. And then the heart rate maybe 90. Okay, and the last two that doesn't need it yet for this demo demonstration. But we have all the like error checking working, so you can see like those error checking actually working. Have the range. We don't need this two data yet. So now to the third page of the recommendation. Actually, we can do this. So we can do like okay next. You will say okay because I just changed the oxygen level to 80%. So that's why it says we need to increase the patient's oxygen level to higher than 90. So let me do this. So if I change to 95 maybe, and then it's past the threshold. So let me do next again. It will give the next recommendation. That's what we're trying to do for the patient and recommend the medical personnel to do the proper treatment whenever the monitor data changes. And you can see actually there's a more different flow chart as well for the recommendation. So this one is for the pain control. So if they haven't get the patient the painkiller, they will suggest this. And then if the patient get received, which is hit next, you will say okay, then you monitor the patient until the monitor changes. So the monitor data we actually input it here manually, but in the future iteration, we will incorporate the Excel sheet from our sponsor. Actually, they gave us the 7,000 data column there, and
so actually they gave us last week is a simulated data. So we have around like over 7,000 records for the data. So the data will change every second. So in the next iteration, we also try to integrate that data in our app. So we can have maybe a action bar button menu to have like use simulated data. So the data will change every second. So we have like simulate real data. And then we could test more about the recommendation.
okay, yeah, and you can start over if the new patient like you want to monitor the next one. We're still thinking about how to implement this part to the better usage and better UI design. So for now it's like this, and then you can start again as well. So it will have the prompt as well. And yes, this is our demo for now.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I think the initial not clear to me. Last time it was a lot better than this time, so I think that's something you may want to consider improving. When you are going through the windows to or the pages to enter the data, to provide some kind of indication as to how much more there is for the person to enter. Like if they have 3 pages, 4 pages to enter data, you know, some of us are pretty impatient. I don't know how many more information I need to enter. So some kind of an indication on the top, 15% complete, I don't know, may help. That's one thing to consider.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yes, actually, sponsor gave us the data for kind of like each second, and it changes according to the the next second. So in the next iteration, we're trying to do the monitor data from the Excel sheet they gave us to JSON, and then try to do a database for it. That's why we need a database to store a local storage for the every second patient info data.
So what we showed today wasn't the final UI layout. We actually already drew like designs to build a better layout to make the experience more cohesive. But right now, for the first and second iteration, we just wanted to finish the functional needs of our application.
Okay. The other question I have is I quite did not follow. I apologize. About data changing every second. Can you go over that again?
Oh,
what
now
data are we
it's
talking
all-
about?
Just show the, yeah, just
For now, it's only Redux.
Also simulate.
So now it's the data. Each text input in behind state management. So the Redux actually have incorporate every input in behind. So every time it changes, you will fire like the action to. When you fire this next action, you will check if each data changes or not. So for now, it doesn't go by second because we don't have the database yet. So in the next iteration, we are planning to do this part.
So we have in our hand the simulated data now, but we didn't implement the way to integrate our simulated data to our app yet. But basically, we just feed the data, every row of the data to Redux every second. So the data within the monitoring page and the patient info page will change every second, and also the instruction page will logic will also change based on the data that the simulated data fit into Redux. So whenever the data change, after that, when the user ready, they just press the next button to see the next recommendation. Because like sponsor said, they currently don't have the way to actually connect medical devices to the phone or our app to get the real data. So they give us simulated data to test for that.
Hold on a minute. It's hung up again, so hold on a minute. Wait. So Venkat, how much did you lose? Connection lost again. So what part did you lose from
I'm sorry, right after I asked the question.
So can you repeat your question again? Hold on a minute.
I don't have the video yet.
Now you do. Please.
So
there
currently,
you go.
every
Alright.
data we put into our patient info and the monitoring data page, the user have to type manually. But the sponsor also have sent us a simulated data set like that. So every row here is every second changes for it, like the real monitoring device. So in the next iteration, we will have this integrated in our app to have the data change every second. And our function will just fit the data into Redux. So it basically will change the data in the patient info page and monitoring page every second. And then when the user ready, they just press the next button in instruction page to get the next recommendation. And the recommendation will be based on the data which the simulated data fit into Redux. Because the sponsor said that currently right now they don't have any way to integrate monitoring and medical devices into a smartphone yet. So they sent us simulated data. So usually the user will have to type in the data manually, but the simulated data may be for training purposes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, so just a suggestion. Back to Arcos app, please. Yeah. By the way, I like the idea of use your slider to the paint from 0 to. Yeah. So it was his idea. Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Just is it possible that you can make the paint slider thicker, the line? It's kind of hard to see. And or what you can do is just leave the line just the line color unchanged, but maybe the circle itself can change. Circle itself changes color. That's something that in terms of the UI that might not be a bad idea. Another thing is when the last result page. Yes. Can you make next and start over as a 2 buttons instead of
just a line.
right?
Yeah.
Because if you go back one page before, yes, I'd rather have a need more data and goal as is, but say please provide patient and monitoring data and gather sufficient data. Maybe have a different color font. But now next and start make them as a button. So yeah, right now next and start have a different font. I mean font color. So just make a uniform color, but make them button. But the stabilized patient, but give IV ketamine. Yeah, you can have a different color font. So make it easier to comprehend. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.